Hello, it's Shauna McKenzie, founder of Best Kept Self with your Monday Morning Pep Talk. So back in 2009, I decided that I wanted to host a local event, partially to fill a revenue void during a slow season of my consulting business, and the other reason simply just as a learning experience, and I've always wanted to host an event. Well, I put everything together, organized it, partnered with local boutiques that were involved with this concept, and the night came, and I was so excited, and not a single person came. Not a single person walked through the door. I had to go from store to store that was involved and explain to them that not a single person showed up, and I'm so sorry for wasting their time, and I'm gonna go over here in this hole and die. And there was one boutique in particular that said, Shauna, we think it's a great idea. You should give it another shot, which I looked at them like they were crazy. But I gave myself a week to sit on it and decided, you know what, okay, I'll give it another shot. You know, it's not necessarily subtracting from my life or hurting me except for my ego. Let's do this. So I gave it another shot and put a little bit more marketing into it, tweaked it ever so slightly, and then the second time I had 15 people show up, 14 of which were my friends out of sheer begging, and that 15th person was a friend of a friend who came probably because that person begged them to come. So I chalked that up to another discouraging failure, and again had to tell the stores why it was such low turnout. And that same boutique said, Shauna, we really think you should give this another shot. It's a great idea. And I thought, oh my gosh, you're gonna kill me. This is so exhausting to my ego, and I just feel like the pride has been kicked out of me. But okay, and so I gave it another shot. I tweaked it again, and this third time I had 100 people show up. And after that happened, I realized, okay, now I've got some momentum. So I ran this event over the next 5 years, and by the time I closed out the 5th annual event, I had nearly 600 attendees, and I was able to take the ticket proceeds and donate it to my favorite local charity, which is, of course, amazing. So the moral of the story, the obvious one is persistence and don't give up, and that most people are ending things too soon or giving up too soon, which I honestly believe. And the second big moral of the story, though, and real talk, is just that pride always loses. And I think any entrepreneur will tell you that there is absolutely no room for pride in this business whatsoever, because you are going to get the pride kicked out of you as an entrepreneur so many times. But it's such an amazing, honestly, feeling when it does, because you are staying so incredibly true to the intention of what you're really trying to do, and you get to persist, and you get to witness and take part in and absorb some really amazing learning opportunities, and honestly just live a better life. And I will tell you personally that there have been moments where pride has gotten in the way and the train always falls off the tracks. So as an entrepreneur, I ask you to really take a look at the role that pride is playing in your life, because there's no room for it. And that'll get forced out of you real quickly if you don't come to that conclusion on your own. And I ask you to look at what you might be missing because pride's in the way. If I would have let my ego take over, and if I would have been embarrassed and said, no, I don't want to do that again, that was so embarrassing, and just gave up on it, I would have never gotten 5 years out of just such an amazing experience to take part in an event like that, to give back to a charity, to get involved in my community, and to grow it from 0 people to 600 people single-handedly, which is such a cool feeling. And I look at all the other things that have happened in my life where it's failed, and I haven't given into my ego and my embarrassment, although I really wanted to, and I've continued to persist. Pride loses, persistence always wins in this case. So take a really close look at that. And guess what? The only reason that you can persist is when you stay connected to that soul goal that we talked about in an earlier pep talk. So if you haven't watched that pep talk and read that article by our contributor who explains the difference between an ego goal and a soul goal, then you need to go back and do that, because that's what keeps you persisting. That's what lets you set aside ego and lets you move forward, even at the sacrifice of, your pride. So go back and listen to that, because that's at the foundation and the core of all of this, and the only way that any entrepreneur, I'm sure, would tell you that they can get through those moments. And just take a close reflection to make sure that pride isn't controlling you or your business, because you're missing out on some really incredible opportunities if it is. So one last reminder, August 1st, which is right around the corner, is the beginning of our 30-day free Start Right, End Right challenge. This is the second annual challenge. It's all about starting your morning right for 30 days so that you can get rid of that snooze button on your alarm clock and start your morning right by giving something back to yourself, putting some time in for just you so you're not rushing out the door, feeling stressed when you're beginning your day. So sign up, the link's below. We are super excited. We have hundreds of people taking part in this year's challenge. So we are all gonna become morning people by the time this 30 days is over. And if I can do it, you can do it. And as always, I will chat with you next week.